Oh, well, we are joined now by lawyer and Arise analyst Frank Tietie. Let's start off with you now. Good to have you join us on Newsnight, Frank Tietie. Yes. So you already know the conversation here circles around the movement of, thank God, some CSOs are calling for, accountability, which is very important in governance. But also the fact that some of the petition tribunals should be moved to Abuja. Would there be any difference or sort of, difference in this movement to Abuja and Lagos? Is there any effect? Would there be any change?
A whole lot of change will be, contemplated and possibly will be very visible. I think it's very clear that there is a directive already by the President of the Court of Appeal that all the appeals in the various states, that particularly in the 36 states or the Federation, be moved to either Lagos or Abuja. There is some obvious reason for that. It also shows that the judiciary is becoming responsive. The foundation upon which the judiciary rests is twofold. That is impartiality and independence. And all of those appeared to have been seriously compromised. Studying the outcomes of the various decisions of the tribunals across the state. There's a current study right now to draw a link between, the fact that why is it that states that are controlled by either the APC or PDP had decisions from the tribunals favoring those political parties. The idea has now become, the extrapolation and the suspicion is that there is an undue influence being exercised on the tribunal judges by state governors that are incumbent, even though they have cases in court. That is also affects those persons who have been declared winners but have been challenged with regards to elections into the House of Representatives and the Senate, together with the various state houses of assembly. So the idea is the Court of Appeal, the President of the Court of Appeal is giving that directive to actually combat corruption and to forestall and restore confidence in the judiciary to the extent that the tribunal, the appeal courts will be impartial and will be independent, meaning that you can't have a governor that is providing hotels, accommodation for tribunal judges in the state, or supplying courtrooms, or providing logistics in terms of movement. Does that mean
it doesn't happen in Abuja here?
No. You see, the President of the Court of Appeal, the contemplation is that there will be better monitoring, and then the facilities are already here. So why would a judge sitting in a Court of Appeal, you need to sit in the Court of Appeal complex, has all of the facilities. You don't need to borrow a courtroom like they do. It's the governor, it's the sitting governor that provides a courtroom, that provides whatever accommodation for the tribunal to sit. So for us in law, that is already a form of tampering with the impartiality of the court. It's on an undue influence. So I think it's to counter corruption, and it is very commendable. It means that the judiciary that I know that is supposed to be conservative, working quietly, doesn't need to come on the media to say it's responding to the various criticism. It's actually responding in such an imperceptible manner, but with a lot of expectation that there will be, independence and impartiality.
Let me quickly go to our offsite studio and bring in Tobi Soniyi, our legal judiciary editor. Tobi, good to see you. Listening to Frank, one of the key concerns will be that of interference, which has been exposed here. And again, it brings to the fact the never-ending debate between coherence and correspondence truth, going by the judgments we've seen so far. How will this help in terms of the push of some of these cases to Lagos and Nigeria's capital, where we are at the moment, Abuja?
Problem. Abuja from all the state of the Federation takes just about 40 minutes. So if we want to take tribunal away from the governors, it will only take 40 minutes flight to Abuja for the governor to come in. So as far as I'm concerned, that is not the issue. We need to be accountable. If there are allegations against judges, whether the judge is sitting in Enugu, in Maduguri, anywhere, then the National Judicial Council should move against the judge, We cannot continue to, address symptoms and leave the problem. So moving the cost to Abuja, it's fine. It's good that you take them away slightly from the governor, but it's going to create its own problem. People will have to move witnesses from here. It's going to be very expensive. Some of the petitioners may not even be able to afford it. If your petition is in Port Harcourt, you have, anyway, it's an appellate case now. There may be no need for witness movement. But between you and I believe that the problem is lack of accountability. People do things and get away with it. If anyone is hoping that moving the tribunal, I appeal to Abuja and Lagos will solve any problem, I doubt. Governors can always reach judges if they want to. It's only for judges to decline such things. Wherever they are, we know instances where judges, they've met judges abroad. They even move away from the whole Federation of Nigeria. So if we want to address corruption in judiciary, we should be serious and face it squarely. It's not this makeshift approach that we are adopting. We are not going to go, and we are not going to go far with it. So the judiciary needs to do more than shifting the venue of sitting of court to address corruption in the judiciary. That's my position, really.
Before I bring in Frank, let's stay with you because we've heard the Labour Party accusing the Enugu State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal talking about inconsistency, and they said like Enugu, like Nasarawa. So if you look at some of the key things, key concerns, without talking about these issues in court, that's just an example. They have said that sometimes it falls flat against logic when you hear judgments that are so similar to another case being given. So where does the NJC comes in helping to ensure that some of the concerns of Nigerians, and even in this case, politicians, are looked into?
Well, heaven help those who help themselves. Whoever alleges must prove. First and foremost, any party who feels that they have been shortchanged by the judge or by tribunal has the right to file a petition to the National Judicial Council. The council is not just going to pick any information on pages of newspaper. If they have credible evidence that the tribunal, acted under some suspicious circumstances, the best thing they can do is to file a petition to NJC. NJC will invite them to substantiate, and then will give the judge the opportunity to defend itself. So it's not enough to go and address press conference and say that you have been robbed. Sometimes the case may not be so. And I noticed they are comparing both Enugu and Nasarawa cases. Sometimes cases agree, but there are no two similar cases. So the court of appeal may eventually distinguish between these two cases. So it is, then too, I don't agree with the Labour Party resorting to self-help. Having filed the appeal, they should wait for the Court of Appeal to deliver judgment, because they are trying to overreach the court by going to address a press conference. If you are not satisfied, there are legitimate ways to air your grievances. If you find anything against the judge, you can write a petition to NJC. You can also challenge the judgment on appeal, which they have done. So instead of waiting for the Court of Appeal to deliver judgment, they've now decided to take matter into their own hand and call in a press conference. I don't think that is fair enough. They should pursue the appeal logically, even up to Supreme Court. That is the legal way to do it. Thank you.
Okay, now let's come to Frank Tietie in the studio. Seems to disagree a lot with some of the things that Mr. Tobi has says. But let's in you know, discussing what he mentioned or your areas of disagreement with him. Don't you? I mean, following up with that, I would like for you to answer this as well. Won't this mean that the Abuja and Lagos courts be overburdened with, you know, all of that?
Not at all. You need to see the decision of the President of the Court of Appeal to move the various appeal tribunals to Lagos and Abuja is a very strategic one. I'm happy that Tobi recalled that those appeals will actually be held by way of briefs that will be submitted. You may have the opportunity to address the court for a certain limited amount of time, say about 20 minutes, and then judgments can actually be given via on a virtual basis. So there's limited contact, and again, it's easier to actually supervise judges if at all the President of the Court of Appeal wants to do that when it is limited to only two venues. We're talking about Lagos and Abuja. Much of the corruption that happens in the judiciary appear to be practically impossible to prove. We're talking about hard currency in dollars, you know, being given at night surreptitiously or being passed through conduits of certain personalities. So we're talking about briefs that are submitted and then addressed upon, and then thereafter the judge goes to file his own judgment, probably before it is even read via Zoom or WebEx or any of those virtual networks. So it's going to be very helpful. I must tell you, we've been clamoring for the application of technology for justice delivery, and this is one that will be very helpful in achieving that. Much of what I disagree about what Tobi is saying is this. We run what we call a common law system. Stare decisis as a principle of law with which we practice as a country, in the sense that stay by the decision already made by a higher court or by court that has based the decision on principle. We cannot have this clear uncertainty with regards to decisions. One court giving a decision on the same facts with regards to a certain law. It's untenable. Now, in that clear case, I agree with Tobi that what you do is to send the petition to the NJC, because challenging the competence of the justices, that panel that reached that decision, whether they are abreast with the law, unless there is a gag order, unless there is an express order of court barring any citizen or any party to a suit from making comments with regards to the suit, they are free. We are in a country where there is absolute, no, I won't say absolute, but given constitutional provisions, there is a very wide latitude for freedom of expression. Parties in the case are very free to hold press conferences, to hold opinions. After all, the Chief Justice of Nigeria has said that judges are not moved by comments that are made on the newspaper or social media. So they are free to hold press conferences. If that will make them sway the minds of the judges, so be it.
All right, gentlemen, quickly here, before I let you go, not every time I get to see two lawyers going head to head, but quickly here, it's been months, specifically since June 14, since Abdulrasheed Bauer was suspended and subsequently sacked, and he's been in custody. What's the place of when we talk about justice? Let's start with you, Frank, quickly here, because people have been asking.
Well, I think I don't need to waste time to condemn the government's action in continuing detention of Abdulrasheed Bauer. The Nigeria's human rights rating keeps falling, keeps going down, because this time around we're talking about the president superintending over the violation of the constitution with regards to his Nigerian citizen. I have maintained severally that it doesn't matter whether you like him or not. He's entitled to his rights under Section 36 of the Constitution. He's entitled to be given bail. He's entitled to be given all the adequate facilities to defend himself. He is presumed to be innocent. So what is this? What's this political persecution against the man simply for doing his job? Does it mean we just witnessed the confirmation hearing of the new EFCC chairman? What it means is that an EFCC chairman can be removed by one cock and bull story, by one charlatan who just accuses him of one thing or the other, and then it becomes a basis for removing him. And this time around, it's not just about removing him, you are detaining him endlessly, contrary to the law. I wonder why senators will ever go about doing confirmation hearing when they have not actually addressed the issue. I have maintained and have consider it as a warning that it may happen today to somebody you consider as your enemy. The next time it will be you, or it may be your senator, or it may even be the Senate president. Everything changes, nothing remains the same. That's the reason why we must ensure that we have a common standard for everybody. What is happening to Abdul Rashid Bawa actually gets me very, very angry, because I mean, why should it be just because you think he's your enemy politically?
Well, I can sense that, and I'm hoping that we'll stay on this. I'd like to thank you, gentlemen, for your time, Tobi Soniyi and Frank Tietie.